Hey guys, this is the Mall Fox here, and today I'm going to show you guys a mall that used to be known as the Bonita Lakes Mall, but is now called Uptown Meridian, located in Meridian, Mississippi. So, history on this mall starts with the opening date, which was October 15th, 1997. Anchored by 5 department stores consisting of Sears, Dillards, JCPenney, McRae's, and Goodys, the mall had a gross leasable area consisting of roughly 630,000 square feet of space. Interestingly, there were actually plans in the works to add a 6th department store to this mall, which would have been Gayfer's. However, due to Dillard's acquiring the chain in 1998, the plans fell through, and off to the left over there, that back entrance, that's where it would have been. And if you look at aerial photography of the mall, you can very clearly see how they have like squared off the sides, and there was supposed to be a department store there. This mall was developed by CBL and Associates, a big player in mall development throughout the years, developing malls such as the Vicksburg Mall and Turtle Creek Mall, both of which are in Mississippi. Featuring space for about 90 stores, including a food court and a 9-screen movie theater, some opening tenants included Chick-fil-A, The Gap, Victoria's Secret, Bath & Body Works, Wendy's, Lens Crafters, Foot Locker, Sbarro, American Eagle, and more. It was stated that the mall created more than 1,500 jobs in the region and significantly increased the city's tax revenue, and was the spur of an entire development boom in the city. The opening of this mall was accompanied by the development of a strip complex and several restaurants nearby, with Books-A-Million, TJ Maxx, and O'Charlie's among, numerous others locating here throughout the years. I do believe the O'Charlie's is now closed, however. While technically not a direct result of the mall being constructed, there is article proof saying how during the time the mall was constructed, it went alongside other projects in the city, some of which included the hospital being renovated. Some hospitals were renovated, and other projects were coinciding with the construction of the mall. It was a good time to be in Meridian, Mississippi. The town itself was getting a lot of upgrades from what I was reading. The night before opening day, October 14th, a gala was held to celebrate the mall's opening, and a woman by the name of Marcy Thomas, owner of Marcy's Bakery, baked a cake that was a replica of the mall that measured out to be 7 feet long and 3 feet high, that was displayed on opening day. I wish there was a photo of this somewhere. I have not been able to find one. So this mall opened relatively late, as far as malls go, and it's because the town of Meridian, Mississippi already had a mall, and it was known as Village Fair Mall. That mall was developed in 1970 on the site of a former dirt racetrack for cars, and was anchored by JCPenney and McRae's, both of which relocated to Bonita Lakes Mall when it opened. In an article discussing the mall's opening, the owner of Village Fair Mall at the time was quoted saying that the mall had 15 to 20 stores staying with them. However, this was grotesquely optimistic. as the mall emptied out fast and was closed in late 1997 or 1998 after a failed attempt to pivot the mall to budget-oriented shopping and a name change to the Value Fair Mall. Village Fair Mall is also the source for a decently well-known liminal image of a dead mall, and I'm going to post that right now. Like many malls, the Bonita Lakes Mall was host to numerous community-oriented events, such as Santa visits during Christmas time, various car shows, and oddly enough, a Most Beautiful Baby contest, which was hosted in 2004. Aesthetically, this mall bears a striking resemblance to the Westgate Mall in Spartanburg, South Carolina, another CBL and Associates developed mall. Except this mall retains its in-ground trees and more neon accents throughout, which is something that Westgate lacks. I actually have a video on that mall also if you'd like to watch it at the end of this one. I like it when malls have fixtures that are made for the mall itself. An anchor change would happen in 2006 when Belk bought out McRae's, and the location was converted into a Belk store. As far as I know, the mall fared well through this point, decently strong through the 2000s with every chain store you'd expect, such as KB Toys, Gadzooks, EB Games, Gymboree, etc. However, over the years, as many factors such as the rise of e-commerce, over-malling, the rise of big box stores, demographic shifts, and more have hurt malls, the Bonita Lakes Mall too has started to die off and suffer. Anchor stores would close at the Bonita Lakes Mall in the 2000s and 2010s, with the first closure being Goodys in 2008 following the first big bankruptcy of the company. And although they reopened many stores after they sorted themselves out, they did not reopen in this mall. Perhaps seeing the writing on the wall, CBL and Associates of Chattanooga announced the closure of their sale on the mall and the adjoining strip mall complex to Rockstep Capital for $27.9 million in May of 2016. To make matters worse, in 2017 it was announced that JCPenney was closing 134 stores, including the Bonita Lakes Mall location, citing underperformance. Then, Sears closed their location at the mall in February of 2019 as the once undefeatable household name floundered and were closing stores everywhere. Despite this, attempts have been made to pivot the mall in a better direction. In late 2017, a gym by the name of Fitness Depot took over the former Goodys location. And in 2019, a furniture store known as Woodstock Furniture Clearance Outlet opened in the former JCPenney space. Meanwhile, the former Sears pad was repurposed into an entertainment spot known as All-in-One, which featured go-kart racing, axe throwing, laser tag, climbing walls, and more. However, this location has since permanently closed. Rockstep Capital even gave the center its current name, Uptown Meridian, in 2020 following the naming scheme of their other properties. Because in their words, quote, "The word mall no longer reflects what is happening at these properties," end quote. Unfortunately, Rockstep Capital's portfolio mostly consists of malls with similar issues and lackluster offerings, slowly fading away. Despite 4 of the 5 anchor stores here at Bonita Lakes Mall being filled, much of the inline spaces are empty, which is a common theme with malls under their ownership. Time will tell what happens with the Bonita Lakes Mall, and as much as I'd like to root for the success of this mall, it will be an uphill battle. You know, one thing people usually bring up when talks of revitalizing malls happen is bringing in an entertainment-based anchor, which was done here and it failed. So Rockstep Capital will need to be creative if this mall is to survive for years to come, I'm afraid. But enough about the history. I'm just going to talk about this mall a little bit for a minute. I really like the aesthetics of this mall. It's a very gorgeous 1990s mall. Again, looks really similar to the Westgate Mall in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I like the neon, and I like the in-ground trees and the very 1990s tile. This is a really beautiful mall in my opinion. I am definitely more of a fan of the 1980s in-ground brick planter malls. And this mall definitely had either planters or fountains or both at some point. But this mall still has its in-ground trees, and it's just a really nice looking mall. I really like it. But that's actually going to conclude my history on the Bonita Lakes Mall. Keep watching till the end of the video to see the rest of the walkthrough and the drive-by at the end. By the way, most of the time in my videos, I don't really care what music I put in them, but I figured I'd try something new. This is music from my favorite childhood game, Forza Motorsports 3, and I feel like it just goes really, really well with them all. I don't know, so... But that's going to conclude my video on the Uptown Meridian Mall, once known as Bonita Lakes Mall. If you guys liked my video and would like to see more, consider hitting the like button and subscribing with ringing the bell so you never miss an upload. If this is your childhood mall and you have a fond memory here, leave your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Stick around to the end of the video. I have a drive-by recording of this mall, just in case you're interested, and some nice slideshow pictures. But with that, stay tuned for the next mall video.